King Charles appears more relaxed with Rishi Sunak than he did with Liz Truss, according to a body language expert. The former Prime Minister Liz Truss also met with the King the same day to officially step down, just 2 weeks after her first meeting with King Charles at Buckingham Palace. Leading television expert in body language and social behavior Judy James has studied the recent meeting between the leaders and claims King Charles has a more relaxed air with Mr. Sunak compared to Liz Truss. In an interview with The Mirror, she said, "It looked a lot easier for Charles in terms of symmetry of movement and a more relaxed style of body language. There was none of the awkward large gap between them as there was with Liz, who did seem more overawed by the meeting and keener to show deference. Her head was more bowed, but there is eye contact with Rishi and the relaxed air shows in Charles is amused, more jovial smiles and body language." Ms. James added, "This could be a meeting between two businessmen, whereas it was more a meeting of King and Minister with Truss." She also noted that both Mr. Sunak and King Charles shared a gesture which could indicate a warm relationship between the two. The body language expert said, "There was a mirrored greeting ritual that included eye contact, matching smiles and even a rather firm-looking, almost business-like palm-to-palm handshake, with Rishi's thumb clamped on top to suggest warmth and a lack of nervousness." Charles was said to have greeted Truss with a "dear oh dear," but his body language here, with his arms held straight by his sides and slightly to the back of his torso and the wreathed grin on his face, suggests he had an amusing comment handy for the occasion. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss's first weekly meeting with King Charles went viral on social media, as the monarch greeted the leader by saying, "So you've come back again? Dear oh dear." It came after a chaotic week in politics in which Liz Truss was facing criticism for the instability of the economy as well as facing backlash within the Conservative Party. A lecturer in diplomacy at Oxford University, Dr. Jennifer Cassidy, described the interaction as a scene straight from The Office, political awkwardness and unintentional comedy at its finest. MP John Nicholson also commented on the King's words and wrote on Twitter, "King Charles speaks for us all. You're back again. Dear, oh dear. Well, anyway. At least he won't have to endure her for long." Another notable difference between King Charles's meeting with Mr. Sunak and Liz Truss's location. Queen Elizabeth would meet with her prime ministers in the audience room located in her apartments, while the King meanwhile appointed the new prime minister in the 1844 room at Buckingham Palace. It was noted that on the table during Mr. Sunak's meeting was a selection of sweets to mark Diwali, the festival of lights celebrated by Hindus and Sikhs, which may be a nod to Mr. Sunak being Britain's first prime minister of Asian descent. Dr. Nigel Fletcher, a political historian at King's College London said, "His Majesty chose the 1844 room for the meeting, instead of the late Queen's audience room on the first floor. The room, named after a visit by Tsar Nicholas I of Russia, is usually used for receiving ambassadors. I would imagine the King's use of the 1844 room, where he now seems to hold all his audiences, reflects the fact the audience room was part of his late mother's PRI.